broadcasters, welcome to episode 233 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Geige, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been an exciting week. Super excited to chat with all of you tonight. For anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard, and we do these town halls every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific, and we do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with all of you, go through the same flow that you all do with your own shows and productions. Two is to answer any of your questions. That's why we're calling it Ask StreamYard. So if there's anything you'd like us to touch on tonight, feel free to leave it in the chat. We'll do our best to get to as many as we possibly can. And then I always mention the three pillars of StreamYard, which are ease of use, stability, and professional streams. So it's about those three things. StreamYard is the tool for you. Great to see folks tuning in from all over the world tonight. Awesome to have you here, Elizabeth. Hope you're doing well. I think I saw a few folks in Texas. Cool to see Dan and I are also in Texas. Yeah, we got Kurt there. I think I saw Houston as well. Before I forget, we have awesome shows on StreamYard. We got YouTube channel reviews with Dee and Daniel the second Saturday of every month. Really great show if you're looking to grow on YouTube. Dee and Daniel are both pros, and they give really specific feedback on individual channels and advice on things like, how to think about your niche and thumbnails and how to interpret your analytics. It's a really great show. And then we have Enhance Your Live Streams the last Tuesday of the month with Nick Nimmin. Nick is a pro when it comes to all things video, so definitely check that one out for some specific live streaming advice. And then one thing we've been doing at the start of these so that we get to know a little bit more about you and you get to know a little bit more about us is a fun fact. And given that we have July 4th coming up, we figured we would do favorite type of firework. I don't know if people aren't familiar with the names of fireworks, maybe just a description of them. But do you have a preferred firework, Dan?
Yeah, I assume we're talking ones you just shoot off in your backyard kind of thing for 4th of July. Because I definitely don't know the names of the ones that, the Disneyland exhibit. But any like the bottle rocket type things where it shoots something up in the air and then just a huge explosion, I'm a big fan of. Those are always my favorite. How about you?
Yes, bottle rockets were definitely always a classic. I think, someone said sparklers. Yeah, sparklers are definitely a good one. I think it's, they're hard to find now. I don't know if you can buy them in most places anymore, but I used to really like Roman candles, like the ones you could shoot the flaming balls out of.
For a while.
Cool. We actually do have a couple announcements tonight, and one announcement and then one reminder of a recent feature that's still rolling out. So the first one that we mentioned last time was guest comment posting to YouTube. So this is still in the process of rolling out. If you don't have access yet, everybody should have full access by the end of the day tomorrow. Do you want to talk a little bit more, Dan, about what exactly guest comment posting is and how it works?
Yep. Yeah, I know. I saw your question. I'll just show this on screen. So I was questioning in the chat about this. I know you've been asking for this for a while. So I'm guessing it hasn't been turned on for your account yet. But for guest posting comments in the chat, really the key problem that this one solves, if any of you have ever had a guest on your stream and you're streaming, in this case, specifically to YouTube, a lot of times the guest will want to be active in the chat. Not always, not every guest is like this, but some guests want to be active in the chat. And right now they have to actually go onto YouTube in a separate tab and keep that open. Sometimes they don't mute it. And then, they kind of get a bit of an echo, or it also just uses more bandwidth. It's a lot more convenient if they can just have StreamYard open, be able to join the YouTube chat from there. So guests will be able to join the YouTube chat, and then there's a setting to turn that off. Like Dave said, that started rolling out last week. We rolled it out a little slower than we were originally planning to, just to make sure everything's working really well. But everyone should have access by the end of the day tomorrow.
Cool. So yeah, if any of you had a chance to test it out and have feedback, definitely let us know. Might be better next week when more folks have had the chance to try it out. But yeah, if there's anything else you'd like to see with it, definitely let us know. We want to continue to improve it. All right, let's see some of the questions we have tonight. Living Loud with Andy says, appreciate you guys. The new custom layouts came in clutch this Friday. Awesome, Andy. Super happy to hear that custom layouts worked out well for you.
Cool.
Hey, Ross, nice to see you here. Ross says, it's awesome to be able to do everything in StreamYard, live streams, podcasts, recording videos, pre-recorded content, webinars, private broadcasts, etc. Yeah, thanks, Ross. That's definitely the goal. We want to, really not just be the easiest way to create professional live streams, but the easiest way to create professional content in general. So super excited to be launching these new capabilities and seeing folks having success using them. So yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Up the Middle says, my producer starts this week. Excited to have some help. Awesome. Up the Middle. Hopefully the roles and stuff that StreamYard has works out well for that.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, let's see what else we had here. Living Loud with Andy says the guest comments worked great. I was on a different podcast, streamed it through my channel simultaneously, which was awesome. Glad that worked out well for you too, Andy. That I think is actually the guest posting, or the naming is slightly confusing.
Guest destinations.
So guest destinations is the ability to stream optionally to your guest's channel, whereas the guest comment posting is what Dan described, where someone can basically comment if they're a guest in the studio.
Yep. Yeah, just to discuss that one a little bit in case anyone's never heard of that feature. So that's something we launched, I want to say maybe 5 months ago, called Guest Destinations, where your guest can actually optionally add, if you as the host have to turn it on, but if you turn it on, your guest can stream to their own destinations. So if your guest wants to stream the broadcast to their YouTube channel or their Facebook page, for example, they could do that. It's just a great way for both of you to get views and kind of have your content exposed to their audience, and they could just get more content on their channel as well. But that is a separate feature from the one we were talking about this week and last week, which is where the guests can actually join the YouTube chat on your channel. And now they're posting us themselves, but there's just one YouTube stream and everyone's in the same chat.
All right. Let's see here. Gregory said, can someone come into the live stream after it's over without permission? So the way StreamYard broadcast links work, Gregory, is anyone that has the link can join it at any time, right? So even if you end the broadcast, that link is still accessible. I mean, it doesn't really do much because the stream's over. It's not broadcasting anywhere. But that is how it works to make sure that, like, when you end the broadcast, you can still, talk to your guests and let them know, like, hey, how'd you think the show went, and chat with them after the fact. So those broadcast links still exist. There is the option to turn on, I'm forgetting what we call it, Dan, but the ability to prompt folks to have to authenticate with YouTube and Facebook before actually.
It's pretty much exactly what we call it. There's a setting if you open the settings modal, go to the guest tab. There's a setting called guests must authenticate with. Oh man, is it? I think actually just guests must authenticate. It just means that they have to, like Geige said, log in with YouTube or Facebook, and then you can ban them if you don't want to have them in there.
Yeah, so that's one option, but it's also the reason why we always say make sure you don't screen share your guest link or share that out with people that you don't want joining, right? But the nice thing is each broadcast, it's brand new, right? So if you do create a new broadcast, that link, nobody is going to have access to it until you decide to share it with them. Awesome. Cool. Let's do a couple more questions, and then we have some other announcements to get to. Chris says, hey, Chris, hope you're doing well. YouTube has added live polls to their live stream. Can StreamYard add it since YouTube has implemented it? So we'll have to double check on that. Chris, I know they had it. They had some version of live polls a long time ago, and then it was removed, and then it came back. So we'll have to check it out. We're definitely open to it. We want to make sure that we support the platforms as best we can when it comes to their feature sets. Any thoughts on that one, Dan?
I don't think so. Yeah, we're open to it. It doesn't get asked for all that often, but I get the need.
Sally says, thank you all for your offer and making it so easy. I'm finally able and confident to start my podcast, and I'm 80 years old. Y'all are amazing. Well, that's super awesome to hear, Sally. I'm curious what your podcast is about. Super happy that you feel confident and able to do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Larry says, when a guest streams to their page, what happens when the guest leaves my studio? Does the stream remain active on their page? That is a good question. Do you want to take that one,
yes.
Dan?
Yeah, so as of right now, yes. Yeah, it does. Just in case the internet disconnects or something, they have to rejoin. We didn't want to just stop their stream, for example. And it's most of the time when you have a guest in there, they're staying the whole time. So yeah, it does stay.
Awesome. So I see a lot of other great questions here, but I don't want to miss some of these other announcements. So let me get to these really quick, and then we'll get back to some of these questions. So the other one for tonight, which is a new feature, is SSO. So SSO stands for single sign-on. Probably not super familiar for most folks watching, but some of you might be familiar with what it is. The main reason you might be interested in SSO is if you're someone who's running a larger organization or you're part of a larger organization where SSO, it's basically just like a single hub to manage your employees' login information. So, say someone new joins, you don't want to have them have to create like 20 different accounts for all these different programs that they use on a day-to-day basis. Instead, they just, single sign-on. It's one sign-on that is easy to sort of to activate and deactivate. And that's available on the business plans. Any questions about that, let us know. But I'm guessing for most folks that would be interested in it, you're probably already aware of what it is, but we didn't want to mention it. Okay. And the other one just wanted, we mentioned most of these are from a couple weeks ago, but they are pretty new. So wanted to make sure anyone watching for the first time was aware. We do have quite a few new on-air updates. And if you're not familiar with what on-air actually is, sort of like Ross was mentioning before, on-air is basically StreamYard's solution to allow you to do either a webinar or a private live stream or embed your live stream on your own website. So it allows all of those capabilities. So basically, say you're streaming on YouTube and Facebook, and you also want to do a stream on your own website. StreamYard On Air allows you to do that through the embedding feature. Or, say you do a regular live show and you want to, you've built up this audience and you want to do a private, exclusive webinar or something like that. That's another thing that On Air is a great solution for. And recently we did make quite a few updates to it. One was chat reactions. So chat reactions, pretty self-explanatory, but now if you're using StreamYard On Air and you do have the chat enabled, whether that chat is embedded on your own website or you're just using the StreamYard platform itself as the hosting platform, folks can actually react to individual chat messages. So say someone makes a comment that, people really like, they can get a bunch of, thumbs up or, fire emojis and stuff like that. The other one that I was really excited about was downloading the chat. So after you have it on air, if you want to have a CSV of all the chats that happened to make sure, that you just have a log of everything that happened. If you want to follow up with folks, you can now do that. Pretty self-explanatory. You just download it. It's a CSV file. I believe it has the names and the comment, obviously, and that's it right there.
Yes. Yep.
Cool. And then the final one was hiding the viewer count. And this is just from the watching side, right? So if you say you're doing a webinar and you don't really want folks to know how many people are watching, you have the option to turn that off. You'll still be able to see that yourself. And you've always had the control to decide whether or not you want your guests in the studio to see it. This is specifically for viewers. And again, we don't have control over this on the social platform. So this is specifically for on air if you want to hide the total number of people watching.
Cool. Yeah, pretty exciting.
All right. So yeah, hopefully those things are, I'd be curious. It has been a few weeks now. So if you had a chance to try out any of those on-air features and you have thoughts on them, definitely let us know. But yeah, we're really invested in on-air and want to make it, the best webinar and streaming platform out there. So if there's anything specific you'd like to see that we don't have, definitely let us know.
Yep.
J&S Adventure says, is it possible that when someone subs during the show that StreamYard can acknowledge them? That's a good question, J&S. So it's definitely come up quite a few times, especially for YouTube, supporting more of the functionality there when it comes to things like milestones and whatnot. Right now, it is a bit limited unless you're using another tool in addition to StreamYard in terms of like automating pop-ups or things like that. It is something that we definitely want to add more flexibility to and more support for in the future. But right now, it's sort of on you to personally, welcome them if they decide to sub.
For example, the word subscriber can be a bit tricky here because it can mean different things on different platforms. But for example, when you become a member on YouTube, we do show that in the chat and you can show it on screen. It's like this big green comment that kind of stands out compared to regular comments when someone has just basically started paying you as a member. So I don't know if that's what you mean by subscribers or if you mean just if someone subscribes to your YouTube channel, like just as a YouTube subscriber, or if you're talking more about Twitch or something like that. That'd be useful to know, but would like to just kind of expand the functionality around that in general for multiple platforms.
Cool. LC6 says, any plans to allow the full screen to be sent to a second monitor? So I would be curious, LC, to understand a little bit more about the main goal you're trying to accomplish here, just to make sure that it's not something that we could sort of already support with our current feature set. Most ways that I've seen this done is through things that are done on the hardware you're using itself. So something like, screen mirroring, depending on like the type of graphics card you have and the type of monitor that you have. But if there's any other specifics beyond just like what you're actually trying to do with that second monitor, it would be helpful to know. But without knowing more information, my suggestion would be to just use screen mirroring or something that's built into your own hardware.
Yeah, or in certain cases, maybe it makes sense to have like a second device that joins as a guest and made full screen and that's shown on a projector or whatever you're trying to achieve there.
Awesome. Vinny says, question, any future plans to incorporate running a stream through OBS instead of just a virtual camera? So I don't know if I fully understand the question, Vinny, but StreamYard is basically like a cloud-based version of something like OBS. So the whole idea of StreamYard is to make it really easy to bring in guests and and also use our hardware rather than your hardware. So you can use things like a Chromebook and have more flexibility there. There are folks that use StreamYard in addition to, or sorry, use OBS in addition to StreamYard, and that maybe that's what you're referring to, because sometimes folks will use the virtual camera feature of OBS to use some of the functionality that OBS has, like NDI or those types of settings. So if you could be a little bit more specific, because you can use the virtual camera feature of OBS to bring that into StreamYard, but maybe I'm missing the question.
Yeah, I was wondering, maybe Vinny doesn't like that as a solution or something. So yeah, Vinny, if you can just clarify. Yeah, that is pretty rare in general to use both, but some people certainly do it. And that does seem to work pretty well. But yeah, curious if that's been a problem for you for some reason.
Cool. Anna says, I scheduled a stream on Saturday, but the time on Facebook was at a different time. Is that a Facebook thing or a StreamYard thing? My best guess, Anna, is that it's just time zone settings. So maybe the time zone that you have set on StreamYard is different than whatever the time zone that you're looking at on Facebook. I have seen sometimes folks, they have a viewer that posts a picture and it has a different time, but they're watching from a different location. So that would be my best guess. But I would follow up, if you just go to StreamYard.com/contact, the live chat can help you confirm to make sure that the time is correct and the time that you expect it to be. All right, let's see what else we had here. Mohammed says, hey, any updates on new capabilities to share screen on Android tablets while streaming? Do you want to take that one, Dan?
It's a good question. It's not something I've actually personally experimented with too much. I know, I'm trying to remember if we talk about in this show once in a while about things like Reflector, I guess it's Reflector 4 now, or maybe still Reflector 3, which is one of the apps you can use to screen share mobile devices. I just can't remember if I've actually ever done it with an Android device, if it's only ever been iOS. I think I've mostly done it with iOS. I don't know, Geige, if you can confirm that, or if someone in the chat knows the answer to that, if you can use apps like Reflector with Android.
I believe you can, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, so I got to get someone in the chat. If you happen to know the answer, you can correct me. But the way that I've done this before is using an app like Reflector is the one that I've used, but there's multiple apps that do this, where you're basically connecting through Wi-Fi. You're connecting your phone or your tablet to your computer, and then it just shows up as an application on your computer, and you can just screen share that quite easily. And actually, it looks quite good. So I found that's worked really well, especially for people doing tutorials. Like you want to maybe show what a mobile website looks like, and you're clicking through it on your actual phone, and you want to have that show up as a screen share. That works quite well. Depends what you want to do. If you're actually just on an Android tablet and you don't have a computer, that is something we don't support right now, and I don't know when support will come for that. We're open to adding something like that, but if you're literally just streaming on an Android phone, you want to be able to share your screen while you're streaming on that device, that's not something we have right now.
Cool. Mika says, how do I use a Premiere recording? So a Premiere recording is specifically, I guess each platform has a different name for it, but YouTube calls them YouTube Premieres, and that's very much like a YouTube feature. So you would do that on YouTube itself. I believe when you upload a video, YouTube has the option to premiere it, which is pretty cool. It sort of like makes it seem like a premiere that would happen in real life. If you're referring to pre-recorded streaming, in some ways it is similar in the sense that it it's not an actual live video that's sort of being rolled out as if it's a live video. That is something you can do directly on StreamYard, and that's just an option when you hit create broadcast and select the live stream option. You'll have the option to use a pre-recorded video if you want to do that. All right, let's see what else we had here. Ross says, do you have an integration with Streamable to send backup and local recordings to store on Streamable? That's a good question, Ross. So we do not currently have an integration with Streamable. And for folks that don't know what Streamable is, that is a product that's part of sort of the StreamYard and Hopin family of products that's all about video hosting and video storage. But we definitely want to have more integrations in the future when it comes to StreamYard recordings, whether that's getting them to Streamable or Google Drive or something like that. So definitely something we're open to, but we don't currently have it yet.
Yep.
Let's see here. Living Loud with Andy says, do you think you would ever upgrade the storage limits on brand videos? The current cap is 200 megs. Do you want to take that one, Dan?
Yes. I think we will update that at some point. I would like to increase it a bit. And question for you is, how high would you like it to be? And I know a lot of people want it to be unlimited. We do some processing on that thing, and it does take a while to upload, which is why we do limit it. And you're probably already aware of this. If you do need it to be way longer, you can use the video share button at the bottom. That will basically stream it from your computer instead of uploading it to our servers, which is way faster and kind of less intensive. But yeah, for an intro video you want to play every week or something, I get that that's not the most convenient, and you want to upload it as a clip. So we would like to increase that in general. I just don't know exactly how high we'll increase it. But yeah, unlimited. I get the unlimited argument. Just sometimes it can take forever to upload. A lot of video files are absolutely massive.
Mike says, hey there, any update about the Twitter API allowing us to see comments on StreamYard? I wish I had an update for you, Mike. I don't at this time, other than it's something that as soon as Twitter offers it to folks, we will absolutely support it. But right now they have not actually enabled that endpoint for folks, which is unfortunate because they did have it in the past. But so I'm optimistic it will come back. It's just, I think there's a lot going on there right now. So they have
a lot of changes to Twitter in the last 6 months or so.
Yeah. So they're dealing with a lot of stuff, but hopefully it will come back in the future.
Yeah. Periscope had it, but as soon as it switched from Periscope to Twitter, it went away, unfortunately.
All right. Bus says, how do you set your channel where only subscribers can leave comments? Yeah, that's a good question. So it depends on the platform you're streaming to, Bus, but generally that's something we don't actually have a setting for directly on StreamYard, but it's very easy to do on the platform itself. So things like YouTube, it's generally on the stream itself. There's a mode that's subscriber only mode that you can just choose to toggle on. Twitch has something very, very similar. So, I would just look up for the particular channel that you're trying to do it on, because it's something that isn't actually done on StreamYard. All right. Should we go ahead and start queuing up the giveaway for tonight, Dan?
Cool. Let's do it. What are we giving away?
Yeah, so tonight, let's go ahead. It's been a while. Why don't we give away the StreamYard sweater, since it's been a minute since we've given away one of those, and the StreamYard pillow.
Cool.
Looks like many folks are already familiar with this, given looking at the entries. But if you're not, we always do a giveaway towards the end of these shows. And to be eligible, all you have to do is type in hashtag the yard. So it only counts at once, so you don't have to like spam it or anything like that. And if you're ever interested in doing your own giveaways, we actually made this tool publicly available. If you just go to StreamYard.com/giveaway, there's a video there that walks you through how you can set it up, just like how we're doing now. If you ever want to, maybe give away a book or a course or your own swag. So yeah, we'll give you maybe 10, 15 or seconds or so to get in your hashtag the yards. And let's see if there's some other questions here while that's going on. Chris says, I do love the big green notification when someone signs up to become a member, as well as the starred comments for super stickers. Great to hear that, Chris.
Cool. Perfect.
Chantel says, when you stream setting up OBS running through virtual cam, it rules out all the good audio solutions that OBS has. Gotcha. So maybe that's referring to the previous comment in terms of when you're using like a better integration between StreamYard and OBS beyond virtual cam. So that's useful to know that why folks might want that is for more audio options. That's helpful.
Cool.
Tangled Stitch is enjoying the chat download feature. The chat's busy, helpful to be able to catch up later. Awesome, Tangled Stitch. Happy to hear that.
Cool. Yeah, that's definitely kind of the core use cases. Chat's super busy. You don't have time to look at all the comments or write them down or anything like that. And afterwards, you just want to be able to download it and follow up with people.
All right. Has the number stabilized, Dan? Or is it
I think we're stable enough. Yeah. So it's for a hoodie and a pillow, you said, right?
That's right. Let's do it.
Good luck, everyone.
Vinny, congrats. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. You just won the StreamYard pillow and the StreamYard sweater. If you could shoot an email to contact@streamyard.com, the team can work with you to get your size and your address and send you your brand new stuff. But yeah, thanks again for hanging out with us.
Cool. Awesome.
Josh says, any new updates this week? So there's lots of ones from recent weeks. Josh, the completely new one this week was SSO, single sign-on was the update for today. All right, lots of hashtag the yards. Charlie says, question, I'm out of storage. How long do I have to wait on StreamYard. So if you run out of storage, you have a few different options, Charlie. So one is to just delete past videos, which is pretty easy to do. And we used to not have it, but now you have the option to select lots of them at the same time, right, Dan?
Yep. In the videos tab, you can click on multiple things and just delete a whole bunch of them at once.
Yep. So that's one option, Charlie. The other option is if you do have a lot of videos that you want to permanently keep on StreamYard, we do have a storage add-on that is pretty inexpensive. I don't actually remember the pricing off the top of my head. Do you remember what it starts at, Dan?
I think it's $4.99 for 50 hours.
So yeah, hopefully that's helpful, Charlie.
Yep. And then there's also a setting in the team settings. Like if you're streaming a ton and you just don't really want to have to think about it, there's a setting you can just turn on in team settings that will automatically delete your oldest recordings whenever you do new recordings if you're out of storage.
Yep. Captain Kips says, do you have a way of increasing the number of participants to more than 10? So right now, 10 is the maximum number of people you can have on screen. Kip, we're definitely open to increasing it in the future. It wasn't always 10. I believe when we first launched, it was a little bit lower than that, right, Dan? So it's possible that we increase it. Maybe I'm wrong, actually. Maybe it was always 10. But if not,
it's been 10 for a long time.
Yeah. But we are open to increasing it, Kip. And you can have more than 10 folks backstage. So if you just need to have more people that are able to pop in and pop out, depending on the plan you have, there are some options there. On the professional plan, I believe it's up to 15. Or no, sorry, the premium plan is up to 15 people in the backstage. Dan?
Yes, premium pro is 12, premium is 15.
Gotcha. And then on the highest tier plan, you do have the option to use something called Green Room, which is a pretty cool feature. It's like this extra holding area where you can have even more folks and cycle people in and out of the Green Room. But if it's specifically the number of people on screen, you need more of it. 10 is the max now, but it's something that we might increase in the future.
Yep.
All right. Time for a couple more questions here. Lots of congrats for Vinny. Absolutely. Kisa says, question, what do you do to use a dynamic overlay with a URL instead of the static one? So Kisa says, I assume you mean like a sort of like a web overlay or I can't remember the setting people often say for it, but I know what you're talking about. So right now, static one, the static option is the only option that StreamYard supports. You have to actually upload the overlays. There's not an option to use like a hosted URL. That is definitely something that we're open to adding. They're in sort of the same vein of changes that we did for custom layouts. We're working on more and more functionality to keep things super easy, but for folks that are looking to go deeper and do some cool stuff, like you're mentioning with the dynamic overlays, we are going deeper in that general direction. So something that we're exploring.
Yep. And I would also say there is kind of an option now, depending on what you want to do in terms of how dynamic this overlay is some people will upload an overlay as a GIF. Not necessarily ideal for everything, but can work if you just wanted to have some slight animation.
Cool. We have time for one more here. Vic BC Live says, will we ever be able to see gifted memberships and who gets the gifted memberships? So yeah, this one's definitely come up a few times, Vic. So when it comes to the YouTube API, we want to support as many things as we possibly can on the YouTube API. So if I always forget which one.
We have a team looking at it, and they're very aware of what things YouTube does support and working on adding those things. I can't remember if this is one of them. I always forget as well, but I think it is.
And if it's not, I know YouTube's long-term plan is to get as much functionality as they can onto that API. So whatever is available through that API, we want to support in the long term.
Yep.
All right. And with that, this was episode 233 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be able to hang out with you and answer all of your questions. We will see you all next week at the same time, Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.